Do you like Steampunk or Dieselpunk? Do you have an interest in the Great War or the Interwar period? Do you like board games, tabletop games, or war games? Well, today I want to talk to you guys about Rivet Wars Reloaded. That's right, Rivet Wars Reloaded is the in-between between the wargaming scene and the board gaming scene. If you are a fan of chess-based games or RTS video games or war games in general, then you will absolutely love this board game. So what are you waiting for? Let's get into the fight. Rivet Wars Reloaded is a tactical miniatures board game for 1 to 4 players. It's an amazing game where steampunk / dieselpunk fantasy meets actual history as you play one of 2 sides fighting over a battlefield of your own creation. It's a wonderful game because it is easy to learn. It's cheaper than most war games, and when you buy most of the sets, they come with not just one army, they come with parts for both sides. That way, you always have enough for you and a friend to play for the price that you're paying. In Rivet Wars Reloaded, the Battle of Rivet, you'll be seeing the world of Rivet through the eyes of one of 2 factions who have been fighting a long and drawn-out world war for many decades. The independent allied states are a collection of nations who have formed together to preserve their freedom and sovereignty against invasion and have been the main fighting force against the main opponent for the majority of this war. That opponent being the Imperial Blighton Empire, who has been fighting to expand their borders and expand their access to resources. They're harsh, brutal, totalitarianism, and are extremely mechanically advanced. With one of these 2 factions, you will choose a scenario from the book, design the map based on its descriptions, set up bunkers and strategic objectives, put a line of mission cards as the scenario describes, and dole out resources. All right. Oh, the Yanks. Always showing up late to every war. Well, you might as well listen up now that you're here. It's time for you to learn the terms of the battlefield. Now, pay attention. I'm only gonna tell you this once. Do you think this is a game? I need you to be fully aware of all the terminology used in Rivet Wars Reloaded. First of all, a scenario is our documentation of the upcoming engagement. It tells you how the battlefield is going to look, including telling you which tiles and components you'll be needing for the particular scenario to ensure you get it right. A scenario also dictates out the turn order, if there is any, resources, if needed, which come in the form of deployment points, and rivets. And of course, the terms of victory. What victory conditions will lead to failure?
or glorious victory. Also, if there are any rules that are special for the upcoming engagement, be sure to make yourself aware of them. You'd hate to let your enemy have the advantage. The battlefield is made up of many types of terrain. Tiles will be the majority of the battlefield. They come in many shapes, including a 3x3 tile, a 2x3 tile, a 2x2 tile, and behind some other terrain types, you'll find a singular tile, which has a trench. On a tile, you'll see mud or open ground. This is not so special, but it is differentiated from trenches. Depending on the tiles you use, which are double-sided, there'll be different trench layouts or an entire lack of them altogether. Protect your units on the battlefield in bunkers. Bunkers offer a special ability which means that your enemy rolls less attack dice against those they are trying to target. But this is what it's all about, gentlemen, the strategic objective. Peppered across a map, depending on the scenario, these are the goals. We must occupy them and, if all goes well, place our flag to control it. Only infantry units may enter strategic objectives and bunkers. So I don't want you getting any ideas. How ungentlemanly. Territory is detailed on the scenario. Please make sure both of the combatants are fully aware of what spaces are territory for which side and which is no man's land or a place that is void of territory. Territory allows certain abilities and specials to take place, including the deployment of plugs. Deployment markers dictate where a faction may deploy its units. As long as it is free, you may deploy units until it is full. Of course, the space needs to be free in order to deploy a unit. So if a cheeky enemy gets in there, they may prevent you from deploying. So make sure to keep your deployment zones free so that we have options to counterattack. Flag tokens are erected in the control phase, and they signify that one of our infantrymen has held a position through an enemy turn. But be careful, should your men be removed from a strategic objective, and the enemy now controls it, we could be seeing the Blighten Eagle soaring above land we once controlled. This has been battlefield terminology, mainly the terrain. In order to dominate the battlefield, you must know the battlefield. Now get in the fight. At the beginning of every round, both sides will get a set number of resources according to your scenario. Depending on the scenario or just choosing who goes first, each player will take turns attempting to gain victory through a series of phases. The phases are the control phase, which has you taking control of strategic objectives that you occupy and setting up your action cards in your hand. And depending on the scenario, what other actions happen in the control phase. The deployment phase, where you spend the resources you gained to buy and deploy units that you have control of on the battlefield. The combat phase. Any unit within range of an enemy unit may take a combat action, and you may attack an enemy unit. But you can also use any of your actions
So maybe you want to dash ahead and get a little bit of extra movement. Or maybe you are clever and can use a rapid assault action to move before you attack. The movement phase, where the units can now move, moving them into danger, but also onward to victory, as you can move into your objectives or move a wounded unit out of danger. And of course, at the end of your turn is the wrap-up phase, where you get to score your points and check victory conditions to see if you have won the scenario. So basically the gameplay loop comes down to two sides taking turns, capturing objectives, deploying units, attacking each other's units, and moving. Each of the teams or the factions are asymmetric, meaning unlike chess, they're not the exact same units with the exact same rules on either side. The allies specialize in a variety of units and really focus on movement. Meanwhile, the Blight are experts at mechanized warfare, being the best at taking out enemy armored units, but also having quite some special armor units of themselves. And these units come in several different types. For instance, cavalry can tear across the muddy landscape that will bog down infantry. However, infantry will find their usefulness more in the trenches, where they will get a little extra protection, and many infantry units will have a special ability that allows them to move a little bit faster when they start their turn in a trench. Infantry are also your core of the army. They can enter bunkers to get extra protection, as well as enter strategic objectives, where they can capture and hold them in order to ensure that your side achieves victory. But these two types of units can't do it alone. You're going to need some support, and that's where the support units come in. The allied artillery or the Blight heavy machine gun will be sure to even the odds depending on who's on the battlefield. And of course, mechanized warfare wouldn't be complete without the tank units. Look at these amazing Dieselpunk walkers in the Blight Sturmpanzer and the allied Ostrich. When these units take to the field, it can really change how the gameplay looks. They're more expensive and they have bounties associated to them. Bounties will give your opponent extra points if they can take down that unit. And it's not just tanks. Rivet Wars is full of a cast of characters and heroes that will surely spice up your game. The Blight sniper Jaeger Moldenstein is on the hunt. But they better be careful. Even though their range is quite far, they can still get caught up as the Allied's Parman charges ahead. Units on the battlefield will also have to attend with gas attacks. Oh no! It's the Blight unit, Baron Gaston Tankin, providing gas immunity to his units as well as gassing up the field, ensuring Allied riflemen have a tough time hanging on to those strategic objectives. Wait a minute, what's this? That's right, that's called a plug slot, and many of the tank units have them. Whoa! You can add specialized plug units to tanks, giving them further abilities and attacks? That's right, in Rivet Wars Reloaded, you can accent your tank units or any units with a plug slot with specialized plug units, and they come in various forms. The Blight need to pin down those infantry units before their objective is overrun. It's a good thing that this Landskrieger can attack the Der Cyclops plug unit, giving them extra machine gun power against those Allied infantry. When it seems like the battle is lost, never fear, because you can always count on General Paxton of the Allies. General Paxton allows his tank more movement, but also, with a tank shock attack, can plow into spaces with enemy infantry, sending them running or plowing them into the mud. And of course, with Rivet Wars Reloaded, there are plenty of plug units to choose from. There are the non-hero plug units, as well as some brand new plug heroes that span all sorts. And don't they look amazing? What a moment to take a pause and talk about how amazing Rivet Wars Reloaded looks. These miniatures have immense detail. Look at those. And they look amazing either together or painted. Whoa, look at those paints. Oh geez, it seems that the Allied player is falling behind as the Blight player moves ahead. But that's okay, because there are multiple ways to win in Rivet Wars Reloaded. The Allied player can take advantage of the mission cards that reveal themselves throughout the game. With some clever plays, the Ally unit can win some mission cards and achieve a victory by completing a certain number before the Blight player. Of course, the Blight player can also cinch their victory through victory points by taking out some allied heroes, ending the gap, and completing the scenario requirements. This is a lot of fun, and there's a lot of customization. You want to play with more players? Bring in 2 friends and split the factions in half. Dole up unit cards and have each player have either a certain amount of deployment points, or they will each get the same amount of deployment points, just going either or. Now 2 commanders can use their unique units at their disposal to coordinate attacks to achieve victory. But I don't have 4 friends. I'm not even sure I have another friend to play with. But I love Rivet Wars. I want to play all the time. Well, there's good news for you, soldier. Rivet Wars Reloaded comes with a solo mode through the solo cards. That's right, test your mettle against the formidable Colossus. Using these special solo rules, you can go up against a virtual intelligence player with a deck of cards. We have been warned that Colossus can be a little difficult, especially for newer players, but the lucky thing about playing by yourself is no one has to know. Test your mettle, hone in your strategies, and get in the fight any way you can. So that way when you go up against a friend or your local game group at your local game store, you'll be ready because you've fought one of the toughest players there is, the automated Colossus. Whoa, what's that? That's right, Rivet Wars Reloaded is not just the Battle of Rivet. You can, of course, expand the fun with multiple expansions. Wow, look at all these units! Tanks, plugs, heroes, and infantry. All these different ways to take the fight to the enemy. It's quite a... Whoa, what was that? Airplanes take to the skies in aerial aces. Adding a whole new level, literally, to the battlefield. I personally would suggest that you start with the Vanguard expansion, as that kind of fills out the base experience. However, there are many expansions to choose from. Both the Allied reinforcements and the Blight reinforcements bring a variety of units with different special abilities and uses to the battlefield. Absolutely amazing. And look at the size of those tanks. That's right, super heavy tanks enter the battle with 2 plug slots, bringing heavy weapons into the fight, especially bigger games. Aerial Aces brings aerial units and their specialized rules and an aerial campaign into the fight, as well as anti-aircraft ground units to help keep those pesky planes away from your objectives. Honestly, Rivet Wars is amazing, quite fantastic. It is my favorite board game / war game. But why is that? What makes it so appealing? Well, I personally believe it just scratches that itch that real-time strategy games, RTS titles, and video games give, as well as a nice gameplay loop. It allows you on a turn-by-turn basis to look at what your opponent is fielding and how they are doing in their turns, the units that they can defeat and take off the board, as well as the strategies they're employing, and allows you to react in real time. On your next turn, if your opponent is fielding a lot of infantry, it is very easy for you to counter by deploying maybe a support unit that can help handle that infantry. Are you falling behind in points and really want to take out that pesky tank? Well, deploy some anti-tank units and you can counter. Do you want more for your buck? There are plenty of expansions that add new depth and strategies to the game. For instance, I love that Sturmrad in the Vanguard expansion. Absolutely changes the feel and is the great equalizer. Also, the mono wheels are awesome. The art style scratches the perfect itch of my special interests with Steampunk / Dieselpunk, as well as World War I. And the gameplay loop really gets across that meat grinder grind of Total Warfare, where you are just deploying units and replacing units while units are being constantly ripped through on both sides. Unless, of course, the dice are a little rough. The action cards let you even the odds with some special abilities, which will let you either deploy units more easily or get one extra attack with a devastating special. I also love Rivet Wars because it's easy to learn. It's also easy to customize. There are a set amount of scenarios and maps and a campaign for you to run through, and there are additional campaigns and additional expansions, just like the Aerial Aces. However, once you get the hang of it, it's quite easy to customize. There are very little rules for how to place down map tiles. You can create custom maps and trench networks just for you. And in Rivet Wars Reloaded, they have additional tiles of maps in different sizes, allowing for an increased amount of customizability. You can place bunkers and strategic objectives wherever you would like, and fiddle with the resources to do attack and defense style modes, or to just start with units on the board and have a player try to hold out against an oncoming onslaught wave of enemy opponents. Rivet Wars is a great board game / war game. It's also pretty fast. Most demos take around 10 to 15 minutes to learn the super basics of the game. I would say it could take up to maybe 30 minutes to learn all the rules and start getting the hang of it. But most games are roughly about 30 minutes, maybe 30 minutes to an hour at the longest. But even that is customizable. Do you want shorter games, lower the victory points or the amount of missions required to win? Or do you want big onslaught battles that last an afternoon? Up those victory points, increase the amount of missions needed to win and the amount of missions in general. Up those resources and get those massive tanks out on the field faster, having an ongoing onslaught all afternoon with your buddy. Rivet Wars also has such an amazing community that has lasted quite a while, and we are all excited for the release of Rivet Wars Reloaded. We are able to jump right back into the game and our loving community, who is known for making custom scenarios, even switches on different units, and some custom cards if you want to homebrew up your game a little bit. We also love talking strategy and battle reports and just gushing over the game and the fun that we had with our game table. Rivet Wars Battle of Rivet comes with both sides of the army together, all in one box, which allows you and your friend to get into the game quicker with a full game experience. And many of the expansions, like Vanguard and Aerial Aces, comes with both of the armies as a part of them, ensuring that you can continue to include a friend with your games as you buy additional soldiers for your army. Although I'm not much of a painter myself, the models are amazingly detailed, and trust me, the paints that come out of this community are to die for. The models being very paint friendly as well as beginner paint friendly. From what I hear from painters, is a huge bonus for people who love painting their miniatures. There's a wide variety, they have quite a charm, and with all the variety of heroes and units, there's so much to paint. Rivet Wars Reloaded truly brings an amazing experience to a niche that I think this hobby needs. It is a great advanced board game for those who like the simplicity of board games, and it is a great starting point to onboard into the wargaming hobby for those without the money or experience to jump right in to a bigger tabletop game. The rules are simple to learn, and it is truly a well-designed game, and Reloaded brings much needed balance, tweaks, and everything to the Rivet Wars IP. So what are you waiting for? Go to Steamforged Games website or go to your local game store and ask for Rivet Wars Reloaded. It truly is beautiful, and we just can't wait for more Wait, what is that? Oh no! It's the Steamforged Games exclusive NEMOANS faction? Who are these guys? There's just so much more to this story than what meets the eye. I guess there was just something sinister hiding below the surface. You'll never know what you'll find out of Rivet Wars. Getting involved and getting in the fight, I'm sure you'll find enough to... Whoa, what is that? I guess the vert tank is where he's a Viking. Look, alright, things are getting weird. Rivet Wars Reloaded is an amazing board game, easy to get into. It's fun, it looks gorgeous. I encourage you to give it a try. Rivet Wars Reloaded by Steamforged Games. You can check it out on steamforgedgames.com or wherever board games are sold. There are other board game suppliers who are supplying Rivet Wars Reloaded's retail releases. So this video isn't the best tutorial of the game. I may have missed a few things or something. I tried my best to get the sense of it, the vibe of it, and the core mechanics of it basically represented. However, Steamforged Games wants to get you into the fight so bad that you can go download the rules for Rivet Wars Reloaded right now for free. I'm not even joking. That's right now for free you can go in the link in the description to Steamforged Games resource section of their website. There you'll find Rivet Wars Reloaded and the rules for the game. Go on and get a deep dive into the rules, check out the scenarios. You can even look at some of the rules in the expansions if you're lucky. I think this is really cool of Steamforged Games to offer this as just one extra layer of information before you decide to get Rivet Wars Reloaded. So what are you waiting for? Go to the link down in the description and get the free rules now if you still are interested in the game. Honestly guys, this game means a lot to me. I've followed it for quite a long time. I'm happy to be a kickstarting supporter, and I just can't wait to get back into the fight. So, without any further ado, when will you get in? Welcome to the Rivetverse, soldier. Which faction will you play? Thank you guys so much for watching. This is my what is Rivet Wars Reloaded for anyone new to the series. I hope you really like this video. In the future, we will be doing a tutorial series on Rivet Wars Reloaded. I cannot wait to start that series, but if you can't get enough Rivet Wars and you want to see some more, check out my unboxing videos now available on this channel. Of course, you can also chit-chat Rivet Wars wherever the community meets. I'll have linked down in the description, but we have a community all over the place. There's an official Rivet Wars community on Facebook where people have been sharing their games and their Kickstarter things at the moment. There's not one but two Discords. There's the official Steamforged game Discord where there's a Rivet Wars channel that has been quite active, especially as Kickstarters have been being fulfilled. And there's the fan Rivet Wars Discord that we made that has a variety of channels and a decent sized community, always chatting about various things, about expansions, and about the units and strategies. We also have a subreddit, the Rivet Wars subreddit, that is a great place to share your pictures or your paints, or also ask questions for the community. We have a good community over there who has been quick to jump on and answer questions. And of course, there is the Board Game Geek forums, where there is a Rivet Wars Reloaded forum, where people have been discussing strategies, sharing their thoughts, and reviewing the game. And if I don't say so myself, there's also this channel, Landship Scorpios. I do a lot of steampunk content, however, I also love Rivet Wars, and there is a plethora, there is a massive amount of Rivet Wars content on this page. There'll be cards and doobly-doos to the playlists and things. We will be doing future Rivet Wars videos, unboxings, all sorts of things on this channel for you guys to watch. So, thank you guys so much for watching. This is Rivet Wars Reloaded. Let me know in your comments down below what you like about the game, if you're thinking about getting into it, how you heard about the game, things of that nature, and we are going to keep an eye on all things Rivet Wars, including whatever comes next for the Rivetverse. I know what I'm hoping for. Alright. Without further ado, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll have other videos, and I really thought this would be good for any new players or anyone who is hearing a lot about Rivet Wars right now who might be interested in the game. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!